Hey guys, welcome to my new channel. I decided to do this video because, as I told you in my last video, I lost my right leg above the knee 5 years ago due to bone cancer. And over the last 5 years, I've received many questions and messages asking me what it's like to be an amputee and all kinds of different things about being an amputee or having cancer. And so I let the internet know that I was going to be doing a Q&A. And you guys did not disappoint. I told you guys that nothing was off limits and you came up with great questions. Just a heads up that there will be some mature content discussed. So just know that, and I'm sorry in advance if I butcher any of your names. Here we go. So the first question is from Faith Davis, and she's asking, how do I move my prosthesis? How do I walk with it? And this is my prosthesis, my prosthetic leg. This top part here is called the socket. This part here is the knee. The whole part here is the knee. And this is obviously the foot. Just so you know how I put it on before I tell you how I use it, I have to slide this silicone liner over my amputated leg. And there's this Velcro strap that goes down into the socket, comes out through here, I strap it, and I'm in. Okay? And I bear my weight right here, and I bear my weight on my ischium. It's part of the pelvis, so that's kind of the part that I sit on. And what I have to do to walk is I have to squeeze my butt muscle every single time I make a step. So learning how to do that and like consciously having to think, all right, squeeze your butt, squeeze your butt, squeeze your butt was kind of difficult at first, but now it's second nature. The next question comes from Brandy Mayfield, and she's asking me if I've ever been fetishized for being an amputee. And the answer is yes. There is a whole community of people who call themselves devotees, and they are sexually attracted to people with certain kinds of physical disabilities. Now, from my experience, I've had very relentless, creepy, stalkery type of devotees reach out to me and say some pretty sick stuff. But I've also, spoken with devotees who were very respectful and, never crossed any boundaries or bothered me in any way. So, I have mixed feelings about devotees. Every amputee is different. Some people love them. Some people absolutely can't stand the devotee community. I have mixed feelings. And Tatiana Howe asked me if I experience phantom limb and is it a pain in the ass? Do I get like an itch I can't scratch? Or, what does it feel like? And I do have phantom limb. I've had phantom limb since I woke up from my amputation. It's right now, like it feels like my whole leg is there, but from below my amputation point, it's kind of like pins and needles. Like right now, my sound leg, my good leg, my left foot is on the floor, and it feels like my right foot is touching the floor too. And if I really think about it, like I can move my phantom like toes, like I'm wiggling my phantom toes right now. I do get itches that I can't scratch, and that is one of the most annoying sensations that phantom limb gives me. And also, phantom limb can be extremely, extremely painful. To the point that, like, I could be having a conversation with somebody, and out of nowhere, I'll, like, jump, go, like, ah, or, like, out of my seat. Sometimes it feels like someone's like taking a screwdriver and shoves it up my heel, or like is trying to cut my toe off, or, you know, someone stuck a knife in my calf, or like my knee. The worst phantom sensation I get is the memory of what the bone cancer felt like. It feels like just this indescribable knee pain, and I don't have a knee there, but I do get the pain pretty often. Amy Marie asked me if the foot on my prosthesis is the same size as my regular foot, my real foot. And it is. Mine is. There are some prosthetists and, you know, amputees who actually have smaller foot sizes on the other side. I'm not exactly sure why or what the benefit is, and it's probably a lot harder to get shoes that way. But yes, it's the same size. And Amy also asked if the TSA is intense about my prosthesis. And the TSA is very intense about my prosthesis. There was one time that I was traveling to Panama, and I was traveling by myself. So the first time I was flying as an amputee, and I didn't really know what my rights were and this, that, and the other. And it was clear that it was a prosthesis. I was purposely wearing shorts that day, but the TSA still took me in a back room and made me take my pants off so they could see that it was a prosthesis, because for whatever reason, every time I go through TSA, it always triggers the bomb sensor. So yeah, the TSA is notoriously, like, awful with amputees. So if you are an amputee or you're going to be an amputee, please read up on your rights, because don't let them push you around like they pushed me around. Trevor Gage asked me, how does having a prosthesis affect my romantic life and my friendships? It hasn't negatively affected my romantic life or my friendships. Being an amputee has not. I do admit that after my amputation, I did look at myself as, like, less beautiful, or I thought that I'd never find love again, that this made me less of a woman. But I'm actually in the best relationship I've ever been in my life. I'm very happily engaged to a man named Peter. There have been many questions regarding intimacy and being an amputee, and disabled people have sex. I don't know why a lot of able-bodied people think that disabled people are less sexual than able-bodied people. And somebody else asked me if not having a leg makes it easier to do some things. And in regards to that, there are some things that are easier, some things that I could do that I couldn't do if I didn't have both legs, and also things that I can't do, obviously. In regards to my friendships, I still have my best friend since the first grade. I have good friends, and if anything, my friends got way better after I went through a lot of, my cancer stuff and amputee stuff, and I lost friends that weren't really friends, and I have made really good friendships with people after becoming an amputee that are way more meaningful than previous friendships. Another question that's frequently asked was, do I keep it on or off during intimacy? And 99% of the time, it is off. There's if you're doing certain things certain ways, you'd keep it on, but it's much better off. Florencia Pistrito asked me if I have to adapt my pants to wear them over my prosthesis, and does my prosthesis feel like in my pant leg? And I don't have to adapt my pants. I can slide my jeans over them. I prefer to hang out in leggings. I can wear my leggings over them. The problem with leggings or cloth, actually even jean, is that this area here, the back of that pant leg, kind of gets like ratty because of the constant motion back here. So you can get little tears in your pants. So that's pretty annoying. There are other amputees who don't wear prosthesis who actually will like sew the bottom, they'll cut, you know, their jeans and sew the bottom closed, and there's lots of alterations that can be made. I don't do any of them. I just wear my pants over the prosthesis. And if you look on my Instagram, Irene's Battle, there's lots of pictures of me where you can see my full body, and you can see that it does not look normal and doesn't fill in, you know, well. It's, you know, bulky at the top because of my hips and thigh, and then all of a sudden it's just like the stick. So, yeah. Chelsea Olafson asked me if I always have to wear it, and if I'm able to take it off, what parts of my life do I keep it on for, and she's asking me, for example, if I wear it when I sleep. I definitely do not wear it all the time. I'll tell, you know, females will understand this, but at the end of the day, like when I take my leg off, that feeling is like 10,000 times better than at the end of the day you take your bra off. It is not great to be in all the time. And, you know, I do not wear it when I sleep. Absolutely not. It's just so uncomfortable, laying down with it. Like, I wouldn't get comfortable. And, I don't think there are any amputees who sleep with their prostheses on, actually. And there was another question if I wear it in the shower. I don't wear it in the shower because then I wouldn't be able to clean, you know, that part of me down there, my leg. So I have to use a shower chair when I take a shower because I cannot wear it in the shower. There are shower legs. I don't know how other amputees use them because I don't know how they get in there and wash properly. But that's what I do, and I do not wear it all the time. Jessie McCoy asked me if my leg ever gets sore or irritated from the prosthesis, if there's days that I go without it because of being uncomfortable, and then she asked how long did it take for me to get used to it. And a good fitting prosthesis should not cause discomfort or sores. If there's an issue, then you, like, pain-wise, then you definitely have to, you know, call your prosthetist. And, but the problem is that even with a good prosthesis, with body fluctuation, you know, sometimes I'm a little bit bigger, sometimes I'm a little bit smaller, and that actually can happen throughout the day. Getting bigger or smaller can cause areas on my leg to, you know, I've been rubbed raw, I've chafed, I've had blisters at the bottom of my residual limb, like to the point that there's, you know, blood. It's bad. It's not easy to wear. How long did it take for me to get used to it? I'm still not used to it. I've been an amputee for 5 years. Matt Demko asked me, as a right above knee amputee, how do I use a motor vehicle? Do I use my other foot? Do I use hand controls? Or do I just send it? and I just send it. But really, I use hand controls sometimes, or my other foot sometimes. It depends. There was another question, and someone asked me if I'm able to drive manual cars. And I cannot drive manual cars anymore because of the clutch. So, Deborah White asked me if I prefer someone who has curiosity approaches me, or would I prefer if they pretend not to notice. If somebody's curious, I actually really appreciate their bravery for coming up and asking me questions. There was one time that I was at a pool, and I took my prosthesis off, and then I got in the water, and there was a child who was very curious and was like asking his mom like if I'm going to be able to swim and this, that, and the other. So the mom brought her son up to me, and she politely asked, if he could ask a question. And that is, for me, I love that. And I love that she was teaching her son that. What's really annoying is when people just stare at me. And, I get that I look different. So, yes, you are going to look and see, but then that's it. But then there's just people that are, like, gawking. Like, oh, my God. There's also been times that, like, people have just taken pictures of me instead of... Well, that's more creepy instead of curious. So, that doesn't really answer the question. I don't get offended. I appreciate when people ask questions. I like to provide insight. Susie Capone asked me if I require fewer calories because I'm no longer feeding 20% of my original equipment. And I eat the same amount of calories that I used to eat before I lost my leg. But keep in mind, I'm also in a chair a lot, wheelchair I depend on frequently. So when I'm in a wheelchair, I'm obviously not exerting that much energy. But as an above-knee amputee, when I am in my leg and when I am walking, according to a journal article on PubMed, above-knee amputees actually need to exert 65% more energy to walk than a regular bipedal person. Zoe Swan asked me if I ever wish that I could go back to being able-bodied. Do I ever think, if I could just snap my fingers and magically have my leg back, would I do it? And my life before cancer, when I had both my legs, was physically, obviously a lot easier. And if I had a leg now, it would make my life a lot easier. However, going through the cancer and the amputation and, everything that I've been through the last 5 years has made me grow so much as a person and be way more grateful for the things that I have. And it really humbled me and made me realize what's important in life. It's a mixed answer. Like, it was terrible, terrible time, but my life now is so much better, and I've learned a lot because of it, even though my life is hard. But yeah, it would be easier if I had a leg. So that's the only way I can answer that. Vanessa Rios asked me, how do I confront those with prejudice against young people with disabilities? Vanessa says, I know there's this stigma that young people don't have disabilities, and many people find it odd to see someone young and healthy looking park in a handicapped space. And I know that there's definitely something about seeing a young, healthy-looking person parking in a handicapped spot. There were definitely a few times that I experienced people berating me for parking in a handicapped spot because outside of my car door, you can only see from here to here. So I look like a young, healthy person being an ass and taking a handicapped spot. And they shut up real quick when I hop out of my car and lift up my pant leg, and I'm like, you know, is this handicapped enough for you? But keep in mind that I have a physical disability, and there are many invisible disabilities. And there are people that may look like they don't need the spot, but you really don't know what's going on in their body. For example, not just my physical disability, you know, I have residual issues from chemotherapy that would make me eligible for a handicap spot without, like, not even because of my physical, you know, the outside being damaged, but my inside, something you couldn't see. So don't judge quickly when you see someone coming out of the handicap spot. Yes, there are people that abuse handicap spots, but there are also people who don't look like they need them and really need them too. So that's all the time we have today for your questions, and there are so many other great ones that I will definitely get to in future videos. If you have any more cool questions, please leave them in the comments, or you can reach out to me on the Irene's Battle Facebook page or Irene's Battle on Instagram. Please keep in mind that this is my own personal experience as an amputee, and every single amputee is different. So my answer could be totally opposite for someone else. So just keep that in mind. And I'll keep making videos if you like them, but you gotta let me know you like them by clicking that thumbs up button. Trevor Gage asked if having a prosthesis has affected my romantic life and my friendships. And it does not affect my romantic life. I'm very happily engaged to a guy named Pee Pee.